Welcome back to my channel. I'm Natasja, the founder of Let's Explain, and I'm excited to bring another session with Frans Cronje for you today. Now, just know, to get some background of Frans, he is a pastoral counselor for over 25, I think it's almost 30 years. He's my mentor here in South Africa. I've learned a lot from him when it comes to marriage counseling and specifically sexuality and dealing with people with struggles when it comes to their sexuality. Now, in today's session, we're going to talk about the molest and children and the symptoms about that. And this is a sensitive topic, so he's going to share with us some of the symptoms for kids, teenagers and young adults. And listen to the end because this is a very sensitive but important information that Frans is sharing with us. Remember to click that subscribe button as you listen to Frans' little session.
Twisted perspective of life, God, others and themselves. The inability to speak and to find freedom and healing. When they suffer all these emotional scars and are crippled in their ability to relate, they become very vulnerable to the onslaught of the enemy. And as Jesus said, the thief can come to steal, kill and destroy. And I believe that in the lives of many individuals, Satan has managed to come and to bind this person up with chains of oppression and lies and sexual perversion and twisted identity. And as long as what those chains are there, this person is going to be oppressed with the lies of the enemy. And unless if these lies are shared, this person is going to keep these secrets with Satan. And remember that anything that's kept in darkness can be ruled by darkness. And it is when a child like this is never ministered to, when a child like this has never been healed or set free, when a child like this has never heard the words, "You are not guilty," that this can become an internalized condition in what we call arrested emotional development. Many people live life with a broken inner child like this. So although I'm grown up now and I'm intellectually and biologically mature, inside of me there can be a broken, twisted child, a child who's still in pain. Jesus said, "Suffer not the little children to come unto me." I believe that it is God's desire that every person who has such a wounded inner child will recognize this child, will bring this child into communion with God, and will offer up this broken part to the Lord and say, "Lord, I recognize that this is in me. I have this broken, twisted part in my sexual history. Now, Lord, I want you to take me back to this time in my life, and that you will heal these memories, that you will set me free of the results of this, and that the fruit of this will no longer be in my life." I'm going to show you now some of the symptoms that we see that are common in victims of molest. So if this has happened to you or to somebody you know, this should give you some insight as to the fruit or the outflow of what happens to a person once they become a molest victim. H. Norman Wright says the following thing about arrested emotional development. He says, "Bearing one's pain is unhealthy. The individual outwardly may continue to appear well, but inwardly may never grow beyond the moment of the traumatic event." In other words, there's arrested emotional development. The result is being emotionally trapped in time, waiting for a psychic explosion that will eventually happen. For some, this expression of pain may be a slow leak. For others, it may be a more dramatic snap, when all the feelings come out at once. But what has produced both is the same. It's the failure to process grief. When we bury our pain, it's the most unhealthy thing that we can possibly do. Let's have a look at the symptoms of molest. First of all, in children, we see things like fear, hiding away, bedwetting, feelings of inferiority, feelings of blame and guilt, helplessness, asthma and nightmare. These are common symptoms, common disturbances that we see in children who have been molested. And unless if that child is helped through a process of prayer and therapy. Such a person can get stuck and the symptoms will only get worse, not better. If the situation is not changed, as a teenager we see early rebellion, promiscuity, talk of suicide, looking down all the time, feeling worthless, suffering of depression. Very often girls like this or boys will turn to prostitution or running away from home. As an adult, you can see the list here of all these many symptoms. Some of them are physical, such as a spastic colon, having eating disorders, nervous conditions, bone diseases. Very often we see memory gaps. There's a distance from God. Some victims begin to neglect their own appearance. Sleeplessness, compulsiveness, masturbation, gender identity confusion, insecurities, anorexia, withdrawal, anger. Anger certainly is a telltale sign of being molested. Now, please don't look at this list and think, well, because I have some of those things in my life, I must be molested. No. If you have grown up in a dysfunctional home or if you've gone through some other trauma, it is possible that you can have some of these symptoms. It's not necessarily a sign of molest. So don't get freaked out or worried if you read this and think that, this is a sign that you were molested.
Like Frans said, remember this is just some symptoms or signs, okay? It doesn't mean that you definitely have been molested or your child or a teenager. There is other factors can actually be involved as well that can cause these symptoms. Now, what do I want you to walk away with? Remember, you need to ask for help. If you have any of the symptoms, it might not be a severe cause of molest or rape or something like that, but there has been some trauma in your life. So get some help, reach out. I'll put some links down below for counselors and people that I can connect you with. There is help out there. Now, people walk a lot with this hurt in their life for years and years and years. I remember a lady that I worked with a few years ago. I was the first person she ever shared her traumatic experience with. And she was walking with this pain for 15 years. Since childhood. How hard is that to walk that journey alone and thinking that there's something wrong with you and with that hurt? So please don't stay silent. Reach out. There's help. There's no shame for asking for help. And in counseling, it's always confidential, so it's a safe place to share and find healing. And healing in Christ, healing in your physical body, your spiritual body, and in your soul. So reach out for help, click down below, and I wish to see you again soon on my channel. Thanks so much.